All right, replay analysis time. So, 1 second, changing the stream title. Turning off the sound on my laptop, and we should be good to go. Please don't tell me it went all the way there. Okay, actually, we're not good to go. Give me 1 second. I've got to change. Got to change one thing here. Should be good. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, so replay analysis commencing. And the purpose of this is going to be to help Broag refine his builds as much as possible. And of course, if there are any other outstanding areas that need to be polished up, then take a look at those as well. Cool. Hatch. Gas. To me, this looks like a roach. Oh, and there it is. Alright, nice call. Yeah, so if you don't get the gas more quickly, generally means you're not going for speed, which usually means you're going for roaches. Okay, so again, I'm going to try to focus more on the build than anything else. 3 roach rush is just designed to pick off a few units, pick off workers if possible, and usually you just make a ton of drones behind it. Okay, immediate lair. Take a look at the spending. So far, so good. Queen energy. We're gonna keep an eye on this because we can hit another inject right now. Not yet here. So keep an eye on the queen energy. So far, as I said, the spending is good. Larva only have 4, so we can get another cycle in here. It's probably going to be drones. Gas starting to bank up, but not a big deal, of course, because we're going into lair. And Zerg, unlike Terran, will accumulate resources and then dump them into the tech of its choice. So again, everything is fine for right now. See what happens with the roaches. We're going to pick off some Hellions. Nice micro there, well managed. Actually forcing a full evacuation. That's and a lift. Okay, so this is actually kind of funny because this is exactly what the build is designed to do. The Terran needs to realize what's going on though. When you see only 3 roaches, you have to realize that okay, like this is annoying. It's gonna be a little tough to micro against these units, but I cannot overreact, and this is a classic overreaction from the Terran. So good job here from Broag to force that overreaction. Now, as I said, we're gonna keep an eye on this. It looks like that inject was hit shortly after I had pointed out the Queen's energy, so everything is looking good with the build right now. Third base should be coming down any moment though. So starting to get a little bit worried because we do have 300 minerals. Obviously, we're not going to make more roaches at this point because the roaches have accomplished their mission, just droning, and we do still have resources. No larva, so again, we're not quite at the point where we're going to say it's late to get the third, but we need to keep an eye on it. So let's see how long. So we're going to call that 4 minutes when we have enough resources to get that third base. Couple of spores, more drones. By the way, why do we have spores? Let's see. Okay, so according to our vision, no reason for spores. So these are blind spore crawlers. Turns out that they will protect against this banshee. So not gonna fault Brogue for going for that. And actually, okay, so not going for a third base, actually going for Spire. So no problem with letting those minerals bank up because he is in fact going for 2-base Spire. And also the spore crawlers, it's not a big deal, but you definitely want all of the drones that you can get. I guess my biggest problem is just the fact that it is blind when it doesn't have to be blind. If this Overlord just pokes in, should even be sacrificed if necessary. But if he finds out what's going on, he's going to build the spore crawlers anyway. But if he's not going for this, then you're just losing 2 drones for nothing. So, and it's when you're going for a resource intensive or tech heavy build like a 2-base Spire, of course, you want every single drone that you can get. So, my problem is not with the build here, just with the lack of scouting. And actually, Brogue usually does a really good job of scouting. 3:30 to 4:30 at the absolute latest, but I would say like 3:30 to 4 is the best time. 3:30 to 4 with the Overlord. And in this case, would have given him all the information that he needs. But all of that being said, Brogue is in a good position right now, droning up, keeping the spending low. So this is all looking really good right now. Really good. So again, from being picky, and it's important to be picky, especially when you're trying to refine builds or refine your play, the lack of information is the biggest problem. So here comes the Overseer, and he is going to get off an excellent scout. It's just late. The only problem here. And actually, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but this is also related to the scout. If you see that this is still a reactored factory, and you see this is researching, at this point in time, this is almost always going to be Banshee, researching Cloak, and you've got a reactored factory, that means Hellions. And he already saw Hellions before when he attacked with the 3 roaches. This is still reactored, so those are not going to be Widow Mines. Theoretically, they could be Cyclones, but that's very unlikely. Cyclones are gas intensive, and with Banshees, yeah, not going to happen. These are Hellions. So, if this scout came at 3:30 to 4 minutes, there'd be a few more roaches out to defend this. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with this. The Spore Crawler and Queen are going to push this away, so great job there. But I don't know if these are going to end up getting a lot of kills, but they certainly have the potential to get kills, and a couple more roaches would be really key in this situation. 3 more are coming out, so let's see what happens. But that all I'm saying here is it's a bit risky. It's like a scan ahead, sees a couple of queens, 4 roaches, backs off. Could have tried to poke up and suicided them for drones, but pulling back is also not a bad decision in this case. But anyway, so like I said, things are still working out here. 3rd base being taken. The Corruptors, Ravagers coming in. Let's take a look at spending and energy usage now. Now that we have our 3rd base on the way. So looking good. Just need to hit that. That inject is coming up. This one is hit. Everything's looking good here, actually. Very good. Worker count. So 44 to 34. I was going to say I don't think any workers have been killed just yet, but so again, looking good. Got full saturation here, full saturation here. The Hellions were repelled. Full scout was had. Yep, 3rd base was seen. So this was a factory. So it's kind of weird. Why is there a tech lab here? I'm guessing it's just an add-on bitch. So Brogue should suspect that it's mech. Let's see how he reacts. See how he adjusts the build. Though honestly, probably doesn't need to be adjusted too much. He's already going into Roach Ravager. Alright, more drones. I like it. Spending is really good this game. Brief supply block isn't going to be the biggest deal. I like this poke as well. Corruptors are going to totally shut down these Banshees. Need an Overseer, obviously. And these should be staying up. These should be staying up here. Look at this. 1 second. Corruptors give high ground vision. There is 1 tank. This tank is the linchpin to this defense. So yeah, obviously the Banshees are going to they will kill the Ravagers. But instead of pulling all of the forces back, the Overseer just needed to come up immediately, and the Ravagers should have just run around this area, but stay in close proximity for the attack. As soon as the Overseer gets up, then you're good to go. Corruptors are going to take out the Banshees without a problem, and as I was trying to point out here, those Ravagers are going to take this out, and that's pretty much going to be GG. The Corruptors just make the Banshees completely irrelevant, and Hellbats are not going to touch the Roach Ravager. So a bit of a missed opportunity here. 1-1 is on the way. More drones. Looks like we're going to get up to a nice drone count here very shortly. Got Queen Energy. Good. Actually excellent. I think that one may have hit perfectly. At 25 now. Hitting pretty soon. Okay, this one's a little bit over. A little bit over. We are getting a little bit late. Okay, not the biggest deal. Clearing the way for the 4th base. And I do want to point out that the opportunity to attack has been missed now. With the 2nd tank, it becomes much, much riskier. So there's that brief opportunity. And of course, Corruptors would have given high ground vision. There were 2 Marines to attack the Corruptors. So in other words, nothing. That opportunity, that window is gone. So pure macro here. Good deflection. Careful about the about bringing these units back. These units need to stay up here. Obviously, they're not going to be attacking the Banshee. Corruptors will do that, and this is actually important because if he's pulling you out of position, he can be running in here. I mean, that's what I like to do all of the time. As soon as I see that main army is out of position, I want another army just chilling, ready to attack. As soon as I see the army is going back here, the whole army is going back there, then I'm going to run in here. But Infestation Pit, this is looking really good. I've got to say, Broag spending this game is just completely on point. So +1 attack for air. Infestation Pit's going to finish up. Queen Energy looking very good. So really good job here. Creep spread is maybe a bit lackluster compared to other games, but not bad necessarily. But I've seen when Broag's on top of his creep spread, it gets really, really intimidating to play against. But at any rate, this is a very good attack. Hits with the 1-1. I think we should have +1 attack here. Yep, for the mech. Alright, don't want to see an overcommittal. This is perfect. Even if he doesn't get this command center, forcing the lift off and picking off these key units it really is enough. If he were to get the command center, that's basically bonus. There's nothing here to kill the Corruptors, so the Corruptors should be attacking the CC. Doesn't see it right now, though. Okay, so the ground army is gone. Oh, yep. 18 workers killed. That's pretty darn good. That should basically seal the victory. 4th base is already here. Hive is about to finish up. 2-2 is on the way. But this is looking really good. And again, gotta say, the spending is excellent this game. Queen energy usage is also excellent. Wouldn't mind, one thing I will point out is with this surplus of minerals, now of course that could be dumped into the hive tech of choice, whether it's Ultralisks or eventually Broodlords, though that's still a ways off. But I think extra queens definitely wouldn't hurt here. I mean, they're just always good to have. I think it was Snoot who says it. I forget how he phrased it, but basically you can never go wrong with making more queens, but particularly in this case, to spread creep more, which is always important in ZVT, but I think it's really important against mech, so you can get those surrounds on the mech army when it pushes across. That's not going to be an issue this game, I don't think. Mech players going to be on the back foot for the rest of the game. Again, good job getting out on the map and getting in mech player's face. Don't let them sit back and start to enjoy the resources of this base. Trading here, for the most part, unless it goes disastrously, is going to be what the Zerg player wants. Pick off tanks for roaches. Roaches, of course, are cheap, and they're getting more and more worthless as the game goes on. Excellent transition into the Greater Spire. I mean, that will be the killing blow. This army is not going to be able to touch that at all. So we can actually fast forward here because I already know what's going to happen. Whoops. 2-2 is complete. Mech player trying to take a fourth base. He actually built that as an orbital. Okay, by the way, this is what I was talking about with creep spread. It's not going to matter too much, though. Not in this game. Broag already did more than enough to seal the deal here in this game. Very well played from start to finish. So, prior to closing this one out, let's just take one last look. Queen energy looking pretty good. Very good. So, I mean, this is just a really well played game. Bit late there, but not the biggest deal. And as you approach max, you really don't even need to use inject as much. You can focus more on just building up that energy for transfusions or spreading creep. Especially as you get more hatcheries as well. Take a look at the units. Yeah, I mean, there are 20 larvae there, so an inject at this point, again, it's not really that important as max supply is reached. Brewlord's being morphed in. No answer here for the Terran. This is just a well-played game. And as far as refining the build in this game goes, only one very slight adjustment that or I should say, comment to make, and that is regarding the spore crawlers at the beginning. They worked out well this game, but ideally, or I should say, not even ideally, but just most games, unless your scout gets denied, like you try to send an overlord in and he has marines there or something, or like a random turret and it kills your overlord. Unless your scout gets denied, you want the spore crawlers to be an informed decision and not a blind decision. Pretty much, you should only go for blind defense when you're unable to obtain the information that you want. In this game, the information was available, and Broag did get it. It was just about a minute late. But the blind preparation did pay off. It's just that if the player wasn't going for banshees, then in a two base tech build, in this case it was lair and then straight into spire off of two bases before getting a third. As I mentioned in game, you want every single drone that you possibly can, because you're operating on a two base economy and not the standard three base economy. I should say what would be standard in other games, as you would have three bases at that point. In this case, you're investing heavily into tech, so you don't want to sacrifice any drones if possible. So the only two things I have to say about that game: the scout needs to go down at 4 minutes, give or take. So the window I always say as a Terran player, if a Zerg scouts me anywhere from that like 3:30 to, it's pretty much like 4:15, 4:30 at the absolute latest. It's always frustrating for me, especially if he has Overlord speed, because he's gonna see exactly what I want to do. Unless, of course, I can deny him, kill his Overlord. But basically, what I'm saying is all of the buildings that a Terran wants for his build or his initial plan are going to be in the works at that point. So that was it. Nothing to do with the build directly, just scout needs to be earlier. All right, but other than that, I mean, like, if that's the only thing that I have to say about the game, that means it was a really well played game. It really was. It was like I said, I mean, I was consistently checking the drone count, the queen energy usage, and it was all on point. All right, here we go. So pool looks like we're gonna see the same build this time. Yep, pool, hatch, gas, So we same opening so far. Not sure if we're gonna. Okay, so this is already different though because we don't have the immediate Roach Warren, and we're going up against Bunker Rush. So Bunker slot. Well, 2 Rex Reaper with Bunker, I should say. There goes the SCV. Nice job so far. Targeting that SCV is the most important thing, by the way. Take a look. I was about to say at the Queen energy usage under duress. Broag is not slipped at all here. Getting a nice mix of drones and units. Target firing, of course, would help here. You want to get that weakened Reaper. Terran's not doing a bad job of pulling this back. So yeah, this is defended. Speed. Okay, so we are seeing a different build here. Spine Crawler. Won't even be the worst thing in the world. I'm not sure if this is intentional or if it was meant to be a cancellation, but either way, if it finishes, that is certainly not the worst thing in the world. In fact, I think it'll actually be good. I think it was intentional. But yeah, 1 Spine Crawler. Any more than that wouldn't be good, but so far this is looking perfect. 1 speed finishes. This is not good. They should never, ever be fighting off creep without speed. Yeah, that's not good at all. Alright, I want to take a look. Okay, lair off of 2 bases. Drone count obviously is going to be lower due to the build that the Terran chose. A couple of queens got picked off. The biggest shame right now, though, is the fact that those Zerglings all died pretty much for no reason. They should have been sitting right at this Spine Crawler here. They never, ever, ever chase those Reapers off creep without speed, and especially if it's mass Reapers, you even have to be careful about chasing them. Even when you do have speed, you just have to have overwhelming numbers, just because of how disgusting the Reaper grenade is. Fortunately, it got nerfed. I'm actually very happy about that. Went from like 8-second cooldown to 14. But anyway, so those Lings needed to stay right here. The Queens needed to stay back here as well. The Reapers head up into the main. Then you can just keep buying time, keep zoning. Send the Reapers up, or the Lings up here. Try to get them to engage, run back, etc. And just don't engage until speed finishes. But alright, so that it's definitely going to hurt. I actually thought that this was completely defended, but this second wave here managed to force an error, and now there could be a bit of a snowball effect. In fact, I expect that there will be. Alright, but anyway, so the Queen energy usage is good. As I said, obviously the drone count is going to be lower here due to the build that we're up against. Yeah. Not okay, but not off creep. Yeah, see, this is what I'm saying. Even though speed is finished, yeah, you have to wait for these ones here. Even though speed was finished. In Heart of the Swarm, that would have been totally fine. But there just weren't quite enough. You really do have to have overwhelming numbers. You have to make sure all of them are ready to go, and then you go for it. Okay, Terran is transitioning out now to Marines. Can't exactly know that as the Zerg. Much better scout timing. I'm not sure if this is intentional or if that Overlord just went straight in from the initial scout. Either way, it's getting the information that's needed. See, another Rax being added on. Doesn't see this factory, but pretty much see everything that you need. You don't know about the natural, but it's reasonable to assume that the natural is there. Nice. Good job backing off there. Definitely don't want to over pursue. Let them heal up. Make him come in and try to get him to fight in range of the Spine Crawler. Okay. Hydralisk then is down. Okay, so 2 base Hydra. Oh, wow. I think that just got it. Yeah. Oh, that's a little annoying. Okay, good. Not an overcommittal. I like this repositioning. Now, of course, you should have to be careful that the Reapers don't jump up here. But this good positioning here. Okay, Hydras are on the way. Third base needs to be taken ASAP. At this point, drone count is going to be low. Yep. but again, that's because there has been a lot of pressure. Okay, excellent. Hitting that inject right on time. Muscular augments going down. And 1 second, gonna pause this here. Do I know why your game is not working? Your mouse is not showing up. So your mouse isn't showing up just like just in the game, or like just completely like in Windows or whatever. It's not showing up at all on your computer. Alright. Yeah. Don't want to lose those Hydras to Reapers. You're funny. Yeah, you're hilarious. Alright, this third base is getting, I want to say, dangerously late. The Terran is up to 4 racks. I mean, he should be on 5. 4 is not really a thing. But if he was playing more standard, the Terran should already have a third base right now, or a 5th rack. Okay. All things considered, though, only 3 drones have gone down so far. The main menu in SE2. Alright, give me 1 second. I'm going to take a look. It's going to have to be brief, but I don't know if there's an option anywhere to show or hide the cursor. I don't think there is. Did you check this? The cursor size? And make sure it's up higher. I don't know, maybe if like maybe if it's all the way down. I'm not gonna experiment on it right now, but maybe if it's all the way down, you can't see it. I really don't know. Sorry. Wish I could help. I've not had that problem. Alright, third base is down now. Hydra upgrade is complete. This is a super late third base from the Terran. Honestly, from the looks of it, I think this guy probably cheeses more often than not because his macro isn't looking that great. Okay, now this force should poke but not commit. Yeah, sorry about that, man. And this is exactly why I'm saying this. This force should poke but not commit. Like, send one Ling up here, and then in this case you would run the heck away. This is a big problem. Yeah, this is a disaster. Alright. Yeah, that's a huge problem. Third base is about to finish up, but again, I want to look at the build. Queen energy, all good. Drone count, still not quite where it needs to be, and it's probably not going to get there because Broag's going to need to make more units to hold this force pushing across. Yeah, so just parking the forces here, but not finding out what's going on the high ground is a big problem. And by the way, so we got the sound for the alert played, but I'm not seeing the visual. Oh, there it is. Great. I just wanted to make sure that worked because it took me about 2 hours to get that to work. So thank you for following. I appreciate it. So I played a lot today and streamed a bit as well. Streamed some games that I was playing. Right now I'm actually just analyzing replays for my main training partner, and he's my cousin. He asked me to help him out with his builds and anything else that we might be able to refine, so we can get him into masters at long last. But anyway, so sitting your army at the bottom of a ramp is just never ever a good idea, and blindly pushing up a ramp is also not a good idea. So send one unit up. In this case, you would have seen the units parked here, and it would have sparked an immediate retreat. You would have had all of those units back here in time for the defense. So as far as the build goes, aside from the third base being extra late, nothing else is wrong with the build. I say extra late because obviously it was going to be late given that there was a ton of pressure with the Reapers, and it was a 2-base lair and Hydralisk build, but it still should have been thrown down pretty much as soon as the Reapers were killed or pushed away. That third base needs to go down. Alright, So this is actually going to be tough to hold, even though it isn't many units. It's going to be stimmed bio with +1 attack, and there's going to be a brief window where there are no upgrades for Zerg. Losing the Hellions is not going to help the Terran at all. But yes, it's, again, stimmed bio, going to be +1 attack here. And there are not going to be many units to hold. This is going to be a tough hold. I just want to point out, if those units that were needlessly lost here were back for this defense, I can say pretty with a pretty I want to say certainty, damn near certainty, that this would have been a hold. But it looks like this might actually end up being could be a loss just from the snowball effect that's going to occur. This third base might even go down. I'm gonna fast forward a little more because again I'm trying to focus more on the build here than the game itself. Alright, lifts up. This Terran definitely got greedy. Good job pushing it away. Nice. Okay, Broag manages to hold the third. Very good. Looks like that was a Ling run by. Came in here. Didn't get too much done in terms of damage, but it did hold back these units, and that's really important. Okay, yeah, careful, careful. You can't attack this right now. Okay, this is just an overestimation of the unit's abilities. There's even a one upgrade advantage here, but again, you're with stimmed bio with medevac support and liberator support, and the Hydras had no support, so they needed roaches. If there were roaches there, maybe it could have worked. But again, that's a case of it's overestimating your position. You need to send something out first to find out what's there before you push into the location. This apparently is just a scouting medevac. Alright, these are the real medevacs. The real heroes. Okay, let's take a look at the Queen energy. A little bit high. A little bit high. Lurker Den is on the way. That could, if lurkers are morphed in, that could make a difference. I still give the advantage to Terran right here. But yeah, okay. Yeah, I was just about to say we're a bit high on the Queen energy there. Third base is focused down. That was a good job by the Terran. Actually going to get into the main base here too, and that's going to be super annoying. So this bank doesn't concern me too much because I know that would be dumped into lurkers. I think we're low on queens now. Yep. Lost at least one. This energy is high. So this game is definitely a bit sloppier. Would even say considerably sloppier than the previous one. And this push with +2 attack, I believe. Let me see. Yep, +2 attack is going to be super, super tough to hold. If lurkers were morphed in and ready to go, it might be possible. Without lurkers, I'm gonna say it's not gonna be possible at all. Yeah, that's gonna be it. That's GG. Okay, so this game actually wasn't a problem with the build so much, and only at the end was there inefficient queen energy expenditure. So that wasn't really the problem in this game. This game really just boiled down to decision making. Lings chasing Reapers off creep here, and I believe there were 8 Lings that were killed, 6 to 8. I think it was 8 Lings that were killed needlessly when it was about 10 to 15 seconds before speed finished. There was a spine crawler here. They needed to just chill right around that spine crawler. Queens as well, like right here. So just better positioning. Draw the Reapers in, make them come onto creep. Don't ever pursue off creep without speed. And when you do have speed against mass Reapers, make sure you have overwhelming circling numbers. So that was the biggest problem. And then, of course, this decision right here to sit at the bottom of the ramp. Never, ever, ever sit on the low ground. Always send one unit up first, or a unit like an Overlord, Medevac, whatever, something that flies, something that has vision of the high ground, but do not park at the bottom of the ramp. In this case, that quite possibly could have been the difference in the game, because losing that small army here caused a defeat here, which eventually led to there not being enough forces to defend this third base. Alright, one more replay here. But the beginning of the game was actually quite good. As I said, with the build, with the spending, with the queen energy expenditure, with the worker count, like squeezing out a few workers while also pumping out enough units to push the Reapers away. It was just the decision making. The decision making and the positioning were the two problems in that game. All right, so not this one. We want this one. Okay, again, looks like we're gonna have pool, hatch, gas. I'm guessing there's hatch, gas, and will we see immediate roach warn? Nope. Okay, so no 3 roach rush here. What are we going up against? Standard Reaper expansion. Nice job there by the Terran. Keeping the Reaper at home. Pool first builds are actually quite common right now. Alright. Make sure that inject hits on time. There we go. Alright. Not too late. Again, 2 base lair. Speed finishing up. Alright, so I would like to see the reason for the lair as soon as the lair finishes. Ideally. Like in a perfect world, the reason for the lair, so what I mean by that is anything that requires lair tech. So Hydralisk then. If there were roaches, like roach speed, spire. If you had double Evo chambers and got 1/1, you would want 2/2. So, whatever the reason is for this lair, ideally, perfect game, it would hit as soon as the lair completed. Otherwise, all of these resources can and should go into the third base, or more units like Ling Bane if you're going for an all-in. So, does this layer justify itself? Finishes at 410. Let's see. When do we get the first layer tech? Keep an eye on the production tab. There it is. Okay, not bad. So it's about 12 seconds. A tiny bit late. Not a big deal. Obviously can be refined ever so slightly, but not a big deal at all. Let's take a look at Queen Energy. So the layer is justified in this game. And with that being said, unless all of these resources are dumped into Hydralisks as soon as the den completes, third base should be on the way right now. So basically, third base is on a timer now, because we've got a lot of minerals floating. Again, though, unless all of these minerals go straight into Hydralisks as soon as it's finished. Or, another tech, like a Spire, but then I would just say that's just pretty darn greedy. So, let's see. Alright, Spore Crawler. Take a look at the information we have. Again, this is a late scout. I pointed this out in game 1. It's going to find out everything that's going on. So it's going to be a good scout. It should be thorough, but the problem is that if there's any kind of timing attack coming, it would be hitting basically when this Overseer gets into the base. So in other words, it would be worthless. Let's give some examples, such as any kind of Hellbat push, such as the one I just did on stream on Newkirk Precinct. That hit, I want to say, like roughly 515. So once this overseer gets in here, you would see like, oh, there's an armory. Oh, there actually isn't. There actually is an armory here. But the armory will be complete once it gets in there, and the Hellbats are going to morph right here, and you're going to be making units basically when the Hellbats are at your base. So this needs to be about 30 seconds, actually probably about a minute. By the time this gets in here, it will have needed to be there a minute earlier. That's a really big deal. Again, if you're going against a timing attack, you're going to be in big trouble if the scout goes in this late. But so the Terran is not committing too much. He's actually getting a third base before any attack. I'm not sure why this armory is on the way now, unless, okay, there it is. So I was just about to say, unless he does in fact get those Hellions out here now. And he does, so it's actually pretty well timed. Alright, so he's getting pushed away. Sees the Banshees. Let's take a look right before the engagement. Okay, so we have third base has just gone down 1,000 minerals. That's a little bit worrisome for me. A little bit low on larva at the moment, but need to see this spent immediately because units are going to be necessary to hold this. Okay, double Evo. These should be morphed into Hellbats right now. Not sure why they aren't. These freaking Cyclones are brutal. Okay, looks like the Terran wants to take out this base. Good job backing off here, actually. Oh, back off. Don't defend it. Yep. Okay, cancellation is good, and good job here, not overcommitting off creep. Very good. So mineral bank is getting high again. Let's check energy expenditures. It's all looking good. Drone count is quite low. It's about to be replenished. Wow, with that being said, doesn't matter too much because the third base has not been taken. So you can kind of get away with that lower drone count for the time being. Third base is still a ways off, so not really going to say that's a problem. Okay, looks like the Queen energy usage has actually been looking pretty good this game. Just again, late scout, that's the only real problem that I've seen so far. Late scout and third base was later than it could have been. It's a nice little attack here. Quite a nice attack. Probably going to get this. Terran is kind of, looks like he's here in the headlights there. Terran should be pushing in. Okay, he is pushing in now. Getting Banshee speed. Alright, during this attack, this is pretty much the best time to check like, all of the mechanical benchmarks. Alright, so Queen is starting to get up a bit high. This one's good. And no Queen here just yet. Units, of course, are coming back. Drone count is looking pretty darn solid. Ready to start saturating that. Do we have oversaturation? Yes, we do. Okay. So this is ready to be saturated. Of course, this needs to be defended first. But everything is looking good here. And 1-1 is about to complete. These Cyclones are so freaking strong. It's actually disgusting. They're so strong. Against ground units and buildings, they're just disgusting. My goodness. I don't know what Blizzard was thinking with that buff. They made them worthless against air and just devastating against ground. Anyway, So that was actually a nice attack by the Terran, but it was matched by this attack here. Immediately retaking the third. That's good. Where's the scan going down? I don't even know. Not really sure what that's about. So the good thing there is that during that attack, I was about to say, excuse me, the queen energy didn't accumulate too much, but it looks like on this queen it did. Excuse me. But this one's looking good. Good drone count. Fire and Lurker Den both on the way. Wouldn't even mind, honestly, in this situation, I wouldn't even mind seeing an attempted double expansion. Since this guy keeps going for this base, it's one of those cases where he can't attack two bases at the same time, because you know that his economy isn't going to be in great shape because the third base was attacked. I'm not sure yet. Not too many SCVs were killed, but it was attacked and it was lifted for a while. So he's not going to be pushing across with a huge force. But yeah, double expansion here wouldn't be bad. I'm not saying it's necessary, but definitely would not have been bad. Especially with a move like this where you're probably going to be able to keep his forces at home. That is a really bold expansion. Don't think he's going to be able to hold it. Another nice attack here. Getting set up. So this is what I like here. I like this move. Attacking with what you have while getting to where you want to go. So Infestation Pit finishing up right now. Lurker Den about 3/4 of the way done. Spire as well. Drone count could actually be at the end game with the drone count there. Of course, it wouldn't hurt to add on, up to like 12 or so more, but you can get by with this, especially since there are only 3 bases at the moment. 4th base isn't on the way. So this is great, and you're doing damage while actually getting to more powerful techs. So this is really good. Again, check energy usage. So that queen is gone by the wayside, and this one's getting up a bit high as well. And this is nice here. Hit and run. Get the heck out of there. There's no, get out. There's no reason to stick around. No reason whatsoever. And the reason I say that is you are not at the tech that you actually want. So do not stick around until you get to the composition or the upgrades or the tech that you actually want. This is always dangerous, by the way. Keeping your entire army in an irrelevant position is always dangerous. There should just be one unit here, and the main army should either be threatening to attack again or defending, or like poking over here, like trying a new avenue, angle of attack, but not sitting in the middle of the map. And the reason why is because of this exact reason that we're seeing. They're all going to retreat now. Okay, and by the way, so what happens in that scenario is, number one, like I said, if they're not in the center of the map, they're either here posing to attack again or coming down this attack path to try to attack from a different angle. So if they're back to defend, as I said, you should have one unit here, the rest of the army is back to defend, then you're there to greet him here. And you have the high ground, you're on creep, you can get a nice concave, and you can form a nice defense. If they are in here looking to attack, then as soon as they show up on creep here, you send them in for the counterattack and the base trade. I mean, of course, you could make the decision to retreat them all the way home. That's situational, but either way, you're able to make something happen. Probably in this case, sending them all the way back probably wouldn't be good. And of course, if they're coming down this attack path, then they would actually see the army coming up in this case. So all 3 of those scenarios are better than what we have here, where you have, if they're here, soon as army shows up on creep, push in here for the base trade, which I think would go in Zerg's favor. If they're at home defending, then I think it's a pretty easy defense. It's 1-1, about to be 2-2 against 0-0. But not parked in the center of the map. One unit there. Excellent. So I've got good hive timing. Let's check. I know during battle is always that queen was about half energy. During battle is always the hardest time to get those little mechanical actions such as spreading creep, hitting injects, etc. But for that reason, that's the best time to check. Likely that that mistakes are made. Okay, there's the inject. So I know like players with good mechanics will do things right before an engagement if they know it's coming, obviously, or right after. If you're convinced that you're going to win the engagement, you can hit it during. But so for Terran, for example, you want to build supply depots before an engagement, like before you push out. Obviously, you do not want to be building supply depots during an engagement. So you build your supply depots and then you push out. And in this case, if you get hit with an attack that you don't see coming, obviously it's a different story. But in this case, hit your inject, spread your creep, then poke to look for the attack. And this is going to be a really powerful attack here. So once again, let's take a look at energy expenditure. Everything's looking good so far. Should be hitting all three of these. Oh my goodness, that's obnoxious. And they have speed too. These lurkers are so strong, especially against bio. Let's see how they do against mech here. But again, let's take a look. Alright, so it looks like these injects were missed. So, and actually this is a prime example of what I was talking about. Prior to pushing in here, it's not going to matter too much because this game's about to be closed out. But prior to pushing in here, so once the army sets up here, lurkers are burrowed. Hit the inject. And then push. The small mechanical issue that actually will make a big difference. Ah! This is so obnoxious. Alright, because this is what I'm talking about now, because obviously, like, once the Banshees come in, then you're under a lot of stress, and it's very unlikely that you're going to be hitting your injects and spreading your creep now. But it's like, when you have the time to do it, then do it. So right here, again, that was the time to hit those last little mechanical actions, and then get into the real action. This is going to end up as sort of like, it's like a quasi base trade. I mean, not really base trading against an army, you're just base trading against the Banshees. But yep, I was just about to say these guys need to get to work. Good job here, pushing those away. Still at a healthy drone count, all things considered. Terran is on 2 bases, so he's not going to survive too long. Pretty much going to be GG here. Yep, GG. Alright, well played. Whoops. So in this game, again, nothing really to refine too much with the build itself, but the scout timing needs to be earlier. And main army should not be camped in an irrelevant position. When I say irrelevant, I mean it's not threatening to do anything and not assisting with anything. So it wasn't assisting in a defense, and it wasn't threatening to attack. It was almost literally in the middle of nowhere. And the whole army was performing a function that one unit could have performed in taking the watchtower. So, again, main army should be assisting in defense or threatening an attack. But other than that, just small, very small mechanical issues such as hitting injects before you push, like when you're able, when you know an attack is coming, or when you are about to press the action, get all of your mechanical issues out of the way. So spread your creep, hit your inject, and then take the engagement. But that's something. I mean, Brogue does that. I think most of the time anyway. So I don't think that's new information here, but just pointing it out to reiterate. Other than that, the build itself is looking good. Spending in this game was actually quite good as well. So not too much to refine there. Just again to reiterate for the final time, to summarize from all three games: faster scout timing. So 4:30 being absolute latest, and by 4:30 I don't mean send him in at 4:30. I mean he should be in the base at 4:30 at the latest, preferably like 3:30 to 4. So that has to be every single game, unless of course you're going for an all in, and it doesn't matter what your opponent is doing. You're just focusing 100% on your game plan. But yeah. So faster scout, that was something that was present in every one of the games. It needs to be faster. 3:30 to 4 in ZVT. Not sure. I don't know about the timings in other matchups. Army positioning is a big one. So in this game, Army was way out of position here. wasn't doing anything. Wasn't accomplishing anything. In the previous game, losing the Army here, sitting at the bottom of the ramp, actually directly led to defeat, because this army, had it been present at the defense here, would have been able to hold. But yeah, this army was lost, which again, to recap, then made it so that the battle here was lost, which ended up leading to a follow-up attack where there were no units available to defend the third, and losing the third ended the game. So army positioning. Faster scouting, better army positioning. That also applied to Ling's chasing the Reapers off of creep, but again, this is something that Brogue knows. I'm just saying it again to reiterate. As far as the builds themselves are concerned, all three of these games, I thought the builds were efficient and effective. In the games that we played, the three games that we played tonight, they weren't always efficient, because actually I analyzed them earlier as well. And what I was saying about the lair being justified, I think it was the Newkirk game that we played. I would say the lair was not justified because I believe it was that game. Might have been Belshire. I forget which one. But either way, lair completed, and I think it was maybe like a minute or something later that any actual lair tech began to be researched. So in that case, third base needs to come before lair. So as soon as you get, well, any build, general rule of thumb, and this is actually something that Terrans in particular have to be aware of. If you build a barracks, you have to use it, or factory, whatever it is. If the building is built, if it has a place in your build, as soon as it's done, it should be producing. If it's not, then your build it can be and must be refined. So with Zerg, it's a little bit different because obviously you're not producing from all of your buildings. But as soon as you get that, whatever that tech building is, as soon as it completes, then you should be dumping your resources into that unit, or if it's an infestation pit that goes down, as soon as it completes, you should be on your way to Hive. Specifically in these games, as soon as the lair is complete, you definitely need to start your Spire or your Hydralisk Den, or whatever the case may be. In all three of these games, that was the case, and the builds were great. As I said, in the three games that we played earlier, it's at least one of them. I think it might have been two. A third base should have come before Hive because there were excess minerals, and I'm sorry, not Hive. Before Lair, because there were excess minerals, and the lair wasn't actually used as soon as it was done. So that's all. But those 3 games right there were actually quite good. The loss was a really close game. Definitely could have gone either way. Really, really just came down to losing that one army at the bottom of the ramp. But that is going to do it for the stream for tonight. I will be playing tomorrow and streaming. So, hope to catch you then. Thanks for stopping by and GG's. GG.